Today we'll be ranking every Jamboree Buddy in Mario Party Jamboree. But out of the 22 playable characters, only 10 of them can be a buddy. So we'll be fixing this and making the full roster into Jamboree Buddies, giving them all unique abilities of their own. Let's start with Mario to show you how we'll be ranking the buddies. We'll be rating them out of 5 in 3 separate categories, with the first category being how good their showdown minigame is. Alright, Mario's 3-peat. If you initiate the minigame, you start with a 3-point advantage, which we need to talk about that real quick, because that is actually wild compared to some of the other advantages. That's like just getting a bonus 3rd place, which is insane to me. It's a huge advantage. But we're focusing more on the actual minigame, which, yeah, it's a fun minigame. I mean, everyone loves bumper balls, everyone loves Shy Guy Says. Leaf Leap is definitely a minigame. I think my biggest complaint is that everyone else got their own brand new custom minigame, but Mario got a sort of like best of, you could say, which I understand because he's Mario and this is like an homage to Mario Party, but I think for that it loses 1 point, but still a 4 out of 5. The second category is how good their ability is. Mario has a pretty solid ability, I would say. Movement is one of the most important things in Mario Party, obviously, so getting essentially an extra dice roll is a huge deal. Not only that, but something that is going to be important when ranking these buddies is how often that ability actually occurs. Some of the buddies have really good abilities, but they are very circumstantial, whereas Mario's ability is guaranteed at the start of every turn, so it really just ticks all the boxes of a great ability, and I have to give it a 5 out of 5. Lastly, the third category is ability suitability, which means how well does that ability fit for that character. I think a lot of the buddies were just given abilities and they don't really make sense for that character, but I think it's important that the ability fits their persona, so that's why we'll be judging the suitability. Out of the 10 buddies, Mario's ability suitability is actually one of the better ones. He's the face of Mario Party, so if anyone gives you an extra dice block, it should be Mario. So we're going to rate it a 3 out of 5. With all 3 categories rated, we average them out and give Mario a final rating out of 5. Okay, that's a solid start for Mario. He may actually remain at the top for the entire video, who knows. I guess it turns out Mario makes a pretty good buddy. Let's see if we can do any better with his rival. Bowser seems like the most obvious buddy to add. For his ability, I wanted something that had a negative impact on other players, since Bowser's just a big bully. I came up with this idea where when you pass an opponent, their dice becomes a creepy dice. I didn't want to make any of the buddies' abilities too strong, so I think this works pretty well. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Bowser would be a cool buddy to have, but for now we have to settle for Bowser Jr. Jr.'s Gauntlet has the same initiation advantage as Mario's 3-peat, where you start with 3 points. Once again, a pretty strong advantage, considering each round only gives you 1 point. I think the minigame itself is pretty fun. 10 rounds dodging waves of enemies, I mean it definitely fits Bowser Jr.'s theme. Very close to a 4, but I think 3 out of 5 seems right to me. His ability is also not bad. If you manage to keep him for a few turns, you can place a good amount of traps. This is one of those abilities though where if it works, it's really good. Like if someone lands on a half coins trap near the end of the game, it could change everything, but at the same time, there's a good chance nobody will land on your trap at all, which would mean his ability essentially did nothing. So I'm also going to give his ability a 3 out of 5. For the suitability, I think it's actually really good. Bowser Jr. is a menace, and so he's laying down traps everywhere you go. It definitely fits his character well. 4 out of 5. Not quite as good as Mario, but not bad. There's definitely worse buddies coming up. Koopa Troopa is one of my favorite characters, so it's sad to see he's not a buddy. You're still my buddy, Koopa. Koopa Troopa is the shop guy, so for his ability, I decided to make him essentially a shop hop box. At the start of your turn, you have the option to move to a random shop. Honestly, this might be too good of an ability because you can guarantee a shop every turn, and in the final 5 turns, that could mean a lot of golden pipes. But I just really like this idea for Koopa, so we're gonna do it anyway. For Pauline, I had a similar idea. I couldn't really think of something that suited her well, so I just gave her the ability to warp to an opponent's space. This is a strong ability, but the thing that balances it out is once you roll, you'll be right in front of the opponent you warped to, so it's likely they'll steal Pauline from you. These 2 abilities were inspired by Donkey Kong's ability, so let's talk about him next. DK's Conga Line. The advantage for this is a bigger window to match the rhythm. It's a pretty good advantage to have. Now I'm probably going to get attacked in the comments for this, but I don't enjoy this minigame. I'm sorry. Rhythm games just aren't that fun to me. Like, make me run around and collect bananas or something. And even the soundtrack just gets to me after a while, so it's a 1 out of 5 for me. But that's okay, that's just my opinion, and I totally get it if you guys disagree with things on this ranking. If you want, feel free to give me your rankings down in the comments. DK's ability is definitely better than his minigame. He is basically just a walking warp pipe, which I think is a cool ability. It's pretty useless if you're already on your way somewhere, but if you have nothing to lose, this ability can be a game changer. I'm giving it 2 out of 5. Now, on paper, you look at this ability and you think, what does warping around have to do with DK? And that's a fair point. But I love how they incorporated this ability with DK, because he launches you in a barrel, which if you know DK well, this is iconic from that franchise. This is exactly what every ability should be like. I can give it nothing less than a 5 out of 5. So that puts DK right here for now. Not too bad, not too great. Let's see if we can do any better. Goomba was a tough buddy to come up with an ability, but then I thought back to Mario Party 2 when Goomba would parachute down from the sky anytime there was a jewel. He was the jewel guy. So in honor of that, I came up with the idea that if you have Goomba as a buddy, you can wager stars if you jewel an opponent, similar to the Super Jewel Glove. I think this works really well, and I'm super happy with it. Luigi time! The advantage for this minigame is you start in the second room, so it's kind of like a small head start. I feel like people are going to have very varying opinions on Luigi Rescue Operation, but I think it's an okay minigame. There's things I like and things I don't. The puzzles are kind of fun, but they do get a bit repetitive, like spot the odd one out, now spot the odd one out, but there's more things. And the final room sucks. I mean, surely we can all agree on that. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. Luigi's ability is quite cool. Everybody likes getting big rolls. Unfortunately, it's not 100% of the time, so I think it's slightly worse than Mario's ability. The only time it's better is if you have a double or triple dice, because it has a chance for each dice block. But still, it gets a 4 out of 5. For the suit ability, I guess they wanted an ability similar to Mario, but I don't know what Luigi and high rolls have in common, so it's just a 3 out of 5 for me. That means he's right there tied with Bowser Jr., but once again, not quite as good as his brother. Let's do Toad next. Toad has a history of being the host of Mario Party and oversees a lot of the matches. I like to think at the end of the minigame, he's the one standing there giving out the coins. So my idea for him was getting bonus coins from minigames. I think this is a fun idea, even if it puts a big target on your back when you're playing against friends. But Toad is nothing without his princess. Peach's day off can definitely grind my gears sometimes. If you start with the advantage, you get a gold present worth 10 points, which is not a great advantage, especially if you don't even make it to the end with your present, because the first part of this minigame can be so frustrating. Like, why are the characters moving so slowly? I get they're holding lots of presents, but then why don't they get faster if they lose a present? And why do you get knocked so far if you bump another player? Part 2 can be equally annoying. It's like another hot cross block situation. The only thing that saves this minigame is the variety, even if slightly frustrating. It's cool having 3 different elements and trying to make a comeback if you start badly, so I'll give it a 2 out of 5. I'm sorry to say, but my complaints with Peach aren't quite over. Saving 10 coins on a start is just not a game-changing ability, or I guess technically saving 20 coins since you're probably buying 2. It's like a worse version of Daisy's ability, I feel like, and you would probably get more coins just from Wario's ability. And chances are very high that you won't even pass a star when you have Peach with you. Peach's buddy achievement was probably the hardest to get just because it doesn't occur very often. So in case you didn't figure it out already, she gets a 1 out of 5 for her ability. I do feel a bit bad for Peach, so with her suitability, let's try to make it work. And honestly, getting stars half price does kind of match her persona. She's the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom, she's royalty, she would definitely get a discount. So let's give her a 4 out of 5. Sorry about that, Peach, our worst score so far. After that, Toadette seems like the next obvious choice. I wanted to do something star related for Toadette too, because in Superstars, she was the star NPC. My first idea was to have a higher chance of the star spawning near Toadette, but then I thought it would be more fun if at the start of your turn, you could move the star location. I know it's pretty chaotic, but I think that's what Mario Party is all about. Let's talk about Daisy. Daisy's field day is sort of similar to Peach's minigame where you get points across multiple rounds. The player who initiates the minigame gets 3 red medals at the start, which is a pretty small advantage, but an advantage nonetheless. The minigame itself isn't anything special. It's nice that the location changes, but just collecting coins is pretty boring. For me, it's another 2 out of 5. Now I feel like Daisy's ability is going to be controversial because I don't think it's that good. The idea of getting a golden pipe half price is nice, but again, similar to Peach, it probably won't end up happening that much. Most of the time you'll just be buying custom or triple dice, saving yourself a few coins here and there, and that's if you even pass a shop while you have Daisy. I'm giving her ability 2 out of 5. This feels like another Luigi situation where they wanted to make Daisy's ability similar to Peach, which is fine, but Daisy doesn't really have anything to do with shops, so for suitability, she gets another 2 out of 5. That makes her average pretty obvious. Sadly, our lowest ranked buddy so far. Sorry to the Daisy fans, you know who you are. Birdo was a tough one because she doesn't really have a role in Mario Party. She does have a big nose though. So what if at the start of your turn she shoots out a 10 coin steel trap to a random space? I know it's basically just a worse version of Bowser Jr.'s ability, but feel free to let me know a better idea down in the comments. When you think of Birdo, you think of Yoshi. Or maybe you just always think of Yoshi. No, that would be weird. Everyone's gonna say I'm biased, but I love Yoshi's Mountain Race. The advantage is pretty useless for this one, you just have 3 fruits in front of you at the start, but the minigame itself is awesome to me. Just riding around on Yoshi's, racing up the mountain, give me a spin-off game in this world. It's an easy 5 out of 5 for me. But to prove I'm not biased, let's move on to his ability, because I think Yoshi's ability is one of the worst. And I know what you're thinking, you could copy a golden pipe, and yeah, that would be awesome, but once again, how often is that going to happen? I'm rating these on all-around usefulness, not best-case scenarios, and I think most of the time this isn't going to be that useful. You might not even pass another character, and most people seem to forget that if you pass another character, chances are they will pass you straight after, which means bye-bye Yoshi. It pains me to say, 1 out of 5. Unfortunately, suitability isn't much better. Does Yoshi have a history of producing or duplicating items? Not that I know of. That means we're stuck with another 1 out of 5. That one hurt, but I have to be fair. Yoshi's ability reminds me of the ability I came up with for Monty Mole. Monty has one pretty obvious characteristic. He's a mole. I thought it would be cool if at the start of the turn, Monty burrows into the ground and searches for an opponent. If he finds one, and they have items, he takes the least valuable one. It would just be really annoying if he took your golden pipe. Shy Guy was also kind of similar. Since Shy Guy is a shy guy, I thought he would probably avoid any social interactions. The idea I had was to avoid being targeted by players' items. That means no creepy dice, no dueling gloves, no swap mirrors, plunder chests, anything. Get those items out of here. Rosalina is another existing buddy that is based around items. But first, let's talk about Rosalina's radical race. The initiation advantage is getting a boost item at the start of the race, which over a minute or so race is not that impactful. Now let's talk about the race itself. I don't like it. I feel like it's 2009 and I'm playing Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics again. The motion controls are a chore, the minigame itself is boring, it's an easy 1 out of 5 for me. Rosalina's ability though is a lot more interesting. That's probably actually my favorite one, but that doesn't mean it's the best one. I think getting cheap items is a really cool idea, but these items are only worth 3 coins, so the value is not amazing. Would I rather have extra coins or an extra dice roll? Yes. So for that reason, I'm going to take off 1 point and give her ability a 4 out of 5. For suitability, there's really no connection here. Where do these items come from and why? It doesn't really have anything to do with Rosalina's character. So she only gets a 1 out of 5. Tough break for Rosalina, but at least she gets to hang with Daisy. Ninji is an exciting addition to the Mario Party roster, but since he's pretty new, I wasn't sure what ability to give him. I think since he's just a funny little guy, he makes the perfect sidekick. And it would be awesome if he showed up and helped out in minigames. He's probably not going to win, but he's definitely there. Let's talk about Waluigi. Waluigi's Pinball Arcade is such a perfect minigame for him. The initiation advantage is you get a few medals placed on the pinball machine, which is kinda nice. The minigame though is a lot of fun. Pinball is a classic, and this really stands out as its own unique minigame. What more can I say? It's a 5 out of 5. His ability is also really good. He's basically a walking boo. The only problem being that once again, you need to actually pass someone for it to work, which probably means bye-bye Waluigi. Because of this and the fact you might not even pass someone while you have him, I'm gonna give him a 3 out of 5. The problem is this ability doesn't really suit him. It would be a perfect ability for Boo. The only savior is that Waluigi is a bad guy, so stealing other people's coins sounds like something he would do. I'll say a 2 out of 5. Not too bad, and only 1 buddy left to rank. Since Waluigi stole the perfect ability for Boo, what ability should we give him now? Well, if he can't steal coins, then nobody can. That's right, if Boo is your buddy, you can't be targeted by Boo. At the start of the match, it might not have much effect, but it could easily change the outcome of a match towards the end. I was pretty happy with the ability I came up with for Spike. At the start of your turn, he throws up his spike ball, then it comes down and hits a random opponent and they lose some coins. Think of it as a moving red space. And with that, that means all 22 characters are now buddies, but we still have 1 buddy left to rank. Wario's buzzer beater is actually pretty fun. If you initiate the minigame, you start with an extra 5 points. This minigame gives big WarioWare vibes, but in the style of Mario Party, and I think it certainly has a unique charm to it. I also like how they incorporated Wario into the minigame. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. Wario's ability is just a good, solid ability. Extra coins is always good, and the fact that it's at the start of your turn, you don't have to pass anyone or land on a certain space, I'm just gonna say it, it's a 5 out of 5. Wario's doing pretty well so far, but what about the suitability? Well, Wario is actually the money guy. He loves treasure and gold and coins. Him having lots of coins I think fits perfectly, so believe it or not, it's another 5 out of 5. Which puts him at the top of the rankings. Ladies and gentlemen, the best buddy in Mario Party Jamboree, Wario. Please be nice in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my other video where I busted 51 myths in the Mario Party franchise. Thanks for watching and be sure to subscribe.